Hi everyone, this is Denise again from Food for Life. This is part 2 of our series for your retreat in Bali. And the part 2 one is focusing more on weight loss. Weight loss should really be about lifestyle change rather than sticking to a diet or getting on some program. But I do understand that sometimes we need to kickstart ourselves and that there are some minor things that we can do to help us on this weight loss goal. So there are two main challenges when it comes to weight loss that I see anyways. The two main challenges is really insulin resistance and a slow metabolism. And oftentimes these two actually just go hand in hand. You see both of them. When one person's insulin resistance, their metabolism is also very slow and vice versa. So what is insulin resistance? Insulin, to make it very, very short, insulin resistance is basically our body is unable to utilize the glucose well, and it's unable to regulate our blood sugar. So when we eat a meal, particularly a meal that's very high in carbohydrates or high insulin, we call like high GI, glycemic index foods, things like bread, pasta, anything sugary, these will spike our insulin levels, and what happens in our bodies when we eat these things, usually if our bodies are working well, we're able to use the glucose that is made from these foods, and whatever glucose is not used, it's supposed to be stored. The insulin brings these glucose into our muscles. But what happens is when our muscles cannot, there's something wrong in the mechanism, and our muscles cannot take up this glucose, then we start to become insulin resistant. And from the insulin resistance, then we have we start to get slow metabolism. But of course, with metabolism, it's also related to us in aging. So every decade after 20, our metabolism actually slows down by 2%. So how do we keep up our metabolism? How do we boost our metabolism? One way, actually the best way that has been researched, is really just exercise, but very specific muscle building exercises. So you want to focus on building that muscle mass. It could be very lean muscle mass, so Pilates, bar, that's fabulous to build lean muscle mass, but you definitely want to focus on building a muscle mass for you to increase your metabolism. And also just making sure that you're having very set times for your meals is really helpful to help regulate your blood sugar levels again and your insulin. You want to be able to, our bodies are very clever. We have like a clockwork, an internal clockwork. So it knows that, okay, it's 12:30 or it's 1 p.m. You're supposed to be feeding your cells with good food, but if you're starving yourself or you're not getting enough nutrients, then your body will start holding on to the sugars and storing it in fat cells. So I know there's a lot out there with fasting, with keto. That's another video, another topic. But for now, I would say, very regular your three main meals. Make sure you're getting enough nutrients in these three main meals so that you don't have to snack in between. Because as soon as you start snacking, even if it's like a coffee with milk or a few almonds, your insulin does spike even with that, even if it's healthy. So what we want to do is make sure that you're having three main meals and you're not snacking in between, and already you will be able to start to regulate your blood sugar. After that, You can play around with things like intermittent fasting, or even like on the ketogenic diet, but I don't recommend this at the moment, especially if this is, you know, your first time doing it. So yeah, the 3 main meals, and that means also in these 3 main meals, we want to make sure that you are getting enough nutrients in order to fuel your cells, in order to give your cells all the nutrients that it needs to keep running and to be effective. So what does that mean? You know, making sure your proteins, you're getting healthy proteins in the form of hormone-free chicken, wild fish or wild seafood. Now in Hong Kong, there's a lot of online stores that have these, and they will deliver right to you. Grass-fed beef is one of the best protein sources if you're having meat. For the vegetarians, the plant-based eaters, legumes, broccoli, mushrooms, believe it or not, are high in protein. You will probably need to eat a little bit more just to get that protein. And also healthy fats. So healthy fats, what are healthy fats? So nothing processed, nothing refined. Omega-3s and 6s are 2 essential fats, meaning that our bodies cannot make it, and we would need to get them from our food sources. So from the fish that we eat, from the seeds, the almonds, the nuts. Avocados are healthy fats, coconut oil. So the fats and the protein should really be substantial enough in every one of your meals to keep you going to the next meal. And talking about healthy proteins, the grass-fed beef. So grass-fed beef contains CLA, which is a fat that actually helps you burn fat. So CLA does have quite a bit of research on helping you burn fat. So, you know, when you're buying your beef, you do want to make sure that you're getting grass-fed beef. There's been studies that have shown that once the beef is grain-fed, the CLA content and the nutrient content as a whole drops significantly. CLA in particular, there's a decrease of 500% from grain-fed to from grass-fed to grain-fed. So you want to make sure that you are getting grass-fed beef. There is now grass-fed beef found in Hong Kong, finally, and so you would be able to get this in Hong Kong. And if not, you know, if you want to add a booster to your smoothies in the morning, a good whey protein is something that I like to add to my smoothies. So this one is the one that I use. Pulsin uses cold processed grass-fed milk from grass-fed cow's milk. And the reason why we want cold processed whey as opposed to heated whey protein, which a lot of proteins out there are heated, is because there's specific amino acids that are very sensitive to heat. And we need to make sure that these amino acids remain intact through the processing. And of course, with grass-fed milk, you are getting just all the nutrients that the milk can give us. So grass-fed whey protein is a good alternative and a good addition to add to your soups, to add to your smoothies in the morning. And lastly, if you want to really kickstart your metabolism, or if you're thinking that you have insulin resistance, this product called Metabolic Extra from Pure Encapsulations. This one is a really, really, really effective and great formula. It has chromium, berberine. These all help regulate our blood sugars. It's been documented to help even diabetics, and so this is very effective. Apart from the chromium and the berberine, also has ALA, resveratrol. These are all to help with our insulin levels. So I hope this helps you guys. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing some of you guys and hearing some of your transformative stories when you get back, and wish you guys all the luck. If you guys have any questions, you can email me directly. My email is denise@foodforlifehk.com. And yeah, have a great retreat.